In recent years, society has equated busyness with this badge of honor. Unfortunately, this has been an illusion, and we're waking up to the fact that the trade-offs for getting things done was not worth it. Specifically, thanks to the dedication of many sleep scientists, we now know that sleep is as vital for health as nutrition, movement, self-care, socioeconomic status, and relationship health. As I noted in my previous video, when we swap slumber for work, it negatively impacts our job performance, our brain health, our cognitive function, our emotional balance, our relationships, and overall wellness. Wow. So, what I want to do is continue on with this topic of sleep because it is so essential. I want to talk about more nuances specifically on sleep, why we sleep, why it's so essential, and some of the many benefits of sleep. So again, the topic of the video is who needs sleep, why we sleep, and how slumber can benefit your brain, hormones, and whole body. Now, if you missed the last video and want to go through a little bit more about sleep and specifically its impact acutely on brain health and function, I will leave the link in the video description. And there'll also be additional resources as well as the references to the research that I discussed in this video. So be sure to check out the video description so you can access all that additional information should you desire. All right, first of all, let's talk a little bit about why sleep is essential. And this will be a little bit of a review for people who already watched the previous video, but to get everybody up to sleep, see, sleep is on my mind. To get everybody up to speed, sleep is an essential function and it is needed to maintain health because what it does is it assists the body to recharge and to optimally function. That's the broad overview. But without enough sleep, what happens is the neurons in the brain become overworked. We've probably all experienced what happens when we're sleep deprived, right? It's hard to think right. Our memory may become distorted. We might have a hard time remembering things, where we put things. Our concentration becomes impaired. In fact, even an acute lack of sleep has been shown in studies to slow physical reaction time. It increases emotional reactivity, and it disrupts the brain's metabolic processes of neuronal pruning and clearing out waste. In other words, the brain doesn't have time to clean up from all the emotional stuff it went through that day or through the ability to consolidate in memories if it doesn't have enough sleep. So that is why when you wake up and you're tired, it's hard to focus and it's hard to remember things. Now, chronically sleep deprivation has been linked to an increased risk of many diseases, and it affects things such as the immune system, metabolic function, cardiovascular health, brain health, and mental health. Now, most adults need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. They do poorly if they get less than 6 hours. Six is like the absolute minimal, according to most sleep experts. Once you're getting under 6 hours, you're kind of increasing your risk for some serious brain issues later on. So we definitely want to make sure we at least get the minimal. But most people want to be optimal, so they want to strive for 7 to 9. Now, teenagers need more because they're going through growth spurts, and so do little kids. So we want to keep that in mind that our teenagers know they're not lazy. They actually need that extra time to sleep, and their circadian rhythm is also getting rebalanced. So they might want to sleep later on in the day, and that is totally normal, okay? And it's a physiological thing. A little side note. So just so you're aware of that, parents. But why is it that we need to actually sleep to get all of these benefits? Why do we have to fall asleep to get memory improvement and to optimize our brain? Why can't we do that while we're awake? And that's why there's different theories on why we sleep. And there's four main ones. These include the inactivity theory, the energy conservation theory, the restoration theory, and the brain plasticity theory. Now, these ideas are not exclusive. Many experts believe it's actually probably a combination of several of them or all of them that relate to why we sleep, and maybe other things that we haven't explored or even know enough to explore yet about sleep, because this is a deep topic that's just recently been caught in the limelight and been popularized from, because our society has thought for a long time that we can use willpower to overcome the need for sleep and still be productive. And as I said, that's creating some issues now as we see this backlash. So let's go through some of these theories so that you have a greater understanding kind of more about the functions of sleep. And there are correlations to these theories with science. So the inactivity theory, this is based on an evolutionary and reproductive benefits of sleep. And it's specifically if we're avoiding doing activity in the night, it can be a survival thing, right? We're protected from predators that come out in the night and want to eat us. And it also helps us be prevented from injuring ourselves, stumbling around in the darkness, right? So that's just the basic inactivity theory. Now, the energy conservation theory is kind of similar, but it's based on the fact that we have a 10% drop in metabolism when we sleep. So scientists thought, well, maybe it's this decrease in energy demand that occurs during times of the day that is when we become inactive and that we require our sleep so that we have enough energy when the sun's out to get up, run, collect our food, do what we need to do, and have enough energy to do that. There's the restorative theory. So just to back up, we've already gone through the inactivity theory, the energy conservation theory. Now we're on 3 out of 4, the restorative theory. And this focuses on repair and repletion of cellular components that take place during shut-eye, basically. This is supported by the evidence of the physiological rejuvenation that occurs during slumber. We talked about some of that as far as brain, but also muscle repair, tissue growth, protein synthesis, and the release of important hormones, especially for growth, happen when we are asleep. So again, this is another reason that would explain why kids need more sleep than adults, because they're growing. There's the brain plasticity theory, and this is focusing specifically on those brain changes that we talked about, the neural reorganization, the brain growth, the functional changes that can take place during slumber. Studies actually report on the impact of sleep for memory, cognition, that removal of debris for brain functioning that we talked about. And again, this would again explain why kids need more sleep, because their brain is forming all these different opportunities and memories. Now, one of the most famous sleep scientists right now in the media is Matthew Walker. He's a neuroscientist and he studies sleep, and he's been very big on advocating for we need to prioritize sleep more in our society, and it could be causing a lot of these issues with chronic health, as well as some of these mental health issues that have been spurring and bubbling up in our society at a very alarming rate. Now, he actually wrote a book, Why We Sleep, which is impeccable. It explores all the roles sleep play on our biology, our physiology, our psychology, and he geniusly weaves in all of these different theories. So that is one to check out if you want to dive deeper into that. And in my last video in the series, I'm going to actually go over 11 tips from him on how we can get better sleep. So stay tuned from that. Now, we went through why sleep is essential, right? We talked about how we need it to optimally function for our brain, for our overall health, and when we don't sleep, the diseases that we are at an increased risk of getting. We talked about these 4 theories of why we sleep: the brain plasticity theory, the restorative theory, the energy conservation theory, and the inactivity theory. Now I want to discuss the many benefits of sleep on the body, and I'm going to break that down into body systems. So first, let's start with the heart and circulatory system, because during sleep, various hormones are released that actually support your heart and your blood vessels, especially with elasticity, and your blood pressure is actually regulated as you sleep. So if you get less sleep, it has been linked to hypertension or high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and a risk of stroke. So there's a very intricate link between sleep and heart health. Now, hormones, interestingly, are on this 24-hour cycle impacted by our sleep and wake times, and they pulse out based on this 24-hour cycle. So here's an example of some of them that do that. The most obvious are probably cortisol and melatonin, which I covered again in another video. But cortisol is what rises when we wake up, and that is kind of like our energy hormone. It's known as a stress hormone, but what it really does is it helps metabolize our energy, our glucose. It gets our body ready and rev for the day. Now, melatonin rises when the lights go down and it's dim, and that helps us fall into sleep. And there's also been a host of many different benefits of melatonin in and of itself as a compound, as a hormone. So those are two hormones that not only are related to the sleep cycle, but actually help regulate the sleep-wake cycle. Now, growth hormone in children, that actually pulses at night. So this rise in the evening signals the release of testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. So that's important for kids to get a lot of sleep to help with the growth hormone, and adults as well. Estrogen, one form of estrogen, there's three different forms. Estradiol is the most potent estrogen. There's E1, E2, E3, just FYI. But this interacts with our circadian rhythm, this E2 estradiol. Diol means two. It enhances deeper sleep. And what they found in studies is that when one goes through a time when they don't get enough sleep, they actually estrogen actually helps enhance their sleep so that they get deeper sleep the following night when they do get that sleep. And it actually, women who have more estrogen actually experience less sleepiness during waking phases. And then there's testosterone. Now, levels of testosterone are highest in the middle of the sleep cycle, specifically during the REM stage of the sleep. I'll go over more about sleep stages in the next video, but fragmented sleep therefore could impact testosterone. So one of the things to look for fertility issues is definitely if people are sleeping effectively. There's also some suggestion that testosterone could impact the brain response to light, and this could also impact our circadian rhythm. So testosterone, again, interacting with the sleep-wake cycle, and again, being impacted by the sleep-wake cycle. So there's this reciprocal relationship, biofeedback, the cool thing that hormones do. Finally, there's thyroid. So we talked about melatonin, cortisol, growth hormone, estrogen, testosterone. Now we're talking about thyroid. Now, thyroid stimulating hormone, which isn't actually from the thyroid, it's from the pituitary, but it stimulates the thyroid to release thyroid hormone, is something that actually suppresses sleep. So after there's been sleep deprivation, this TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, will dip lower than normal. So what would happen is there'd be less thyroid hormone production when there's sleep loss. So that's the heart issues, the hormone issues related to sleep. And now if we talk about metabolism, again, this is based on a sleep-wake cycle too, because sleep impacts the hormones that control our hunger, leptin and ghrelin. Probably notice that you're more hungry when you don't sleep. Your body's craving energy from some sort of substance because it didn't get it from sleep. There's the insulin response. Our blood sugar is actually impacted by our sleep. Digestion and assimilation are also related to our sleep cycle. Respiratory and immune health. Our immune system actually depends on sleep to enhance its immune response. It's actually during sleep that we make proteins that fight infections and inflammation. Some of these proteins are called cytokines, as well as antibodies, which fight off certain invaders in our body, and immune cells. And studies actually show that a lack of sleep can inhibit immunity and increase our susceptibility to germs. Brain functioning and processing, we already talked about thinking, cognitive, and memory function with sleep. So with poor sleep, the brain can't consolidate memories or perform its regenerative functions for cleanup and pruning. And we know lack of sleep is unfortunately related to neurodegenerative diseases. And then there's the stress response and emotional reactivity. So when one is not sleeping well, the amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain, actually takes over, and there's a heightened emotional reactivity and even a poor perception on interpretation of emotional responses. So when we're sleep deprived, we can totally misread cues from people and deem them to be more threatening, or deem them to be more aggressive towards us or more discriminatory towards us than they actually are. And this can cause a lot of relational issues, obviously, and enhance stress. Our stress response is also toned down when we get the proper amount of sleep. So our brain, our hormones, our whole body is optimized when we sleep. And when we're sleep deprived, the opposite, our mental health, our physical health, even our relationship health and our financial health suffers. So we need sleep for many different reasons, and they're complex because we went through 4 different theories. And again, it's probably all intertwined. But what we do know is that we do need sleep overall for wellness. And it's just silly to skimp on sleep for busyness because of the trade-off. We actually would be more productive if we shut down the computer earlier and got the sleep that we needed. We wouldn't have to backtrack ourselves and go through our work as much because we can't focus. So just think about that next time you want to watch the next Netflix show in your series. Maybe, do that another time when you can catch up on more sleep. And if you are having problems sleeping, I don't want this to scare you because there's a lot of things we can do to support all of these different body processes that might be affected by lack of sleep. So definitely seek out some professional help. And there's always naturopathic and functional medicine doctors that can help you find and correct the underlying reasons why you can't get some sleep. And they're going to support the whole system and look at the whole body and dive into specifically ones that are really into brain health, how to support your brain as you optimize your sleep. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope that it intrigues you to learn more about sleep, to embrace sleep into your self-care routine. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Just go ahead and comment on the video or on the article link that will be in the video description. Remember, I have tons of resources. I have free resources on my resource page that are about lifestyle, mind, body medicine, essential oils, one of my loves that I use as a supplement for many of my clients, actually for all of my clients. And I also have courses on how to use essential oils for better brain and hormonal health. And that is available to you for free. There's a free hormone and brain health course on essential oils for you on the resource page. I also teach how to clinically apply essential oils for functional medicine practitioners, any form of practitioner or doctor who wants to learn the ins and outs of essential oils, specifically how to prescribe them, their safety, how they interact with medications, etc. So be sure to check out all of that in my resource page. And I'm going to say it here. I'm also working on a course that will surround brain health, mind, body health, heart, brain health, mindset. All of that's going to be coming up, I promise. I've been saying this for a while, but I'm working on the details now. So probably, not in the near future, but it's coming up. So get ready for that. And again, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you for your interest in sleep and your overall health. And I look forward to our next time together and reading all your comments. Take good care.